Your thoughts carry all the power in any spell you cast. Successful practitioners prioritize inner cleansing before taking on any kind of powerful magical work. All powerful spells are shaped by your own consciousness. When you learn to cleanse your mind, everything changes. Let's start with something that most of us already know about: cleansing a space. We purify with the 4 elements. We call the quarters, we set sacred boundaries, we smudge, and we know that a cleansed space creates conditions for powerful ritual work. But here's what rarely gets talked about. The space that matters most is not the one between your walls, it's the one between your ears. Every thought that you hold carries energetic weight. It draws on the creative force of your consciousness. The fear that you keep rehearsing, the resentments that you return to, the stories that you tell yourself about why things don't work for you. These aren't just moods that we're talking about. They are active, habitual thought forms, powerful thought forms. Just like any thought form, they grow stronger the more you feed them. So the first principle in clearing your mind is to stop giving energy to the things that you no longer want. That sounds really simple, and it can sometimes be a little bit more tricky than it sounds. But at its core, isn't that what banishing is? To stop giving energy to that which we do not want? Maybe you are very experienced in performing banishing rituals. Maybe you can clear the space in your home or different conditions in your life. Maybe you do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Maybe you do cord cuttings. Maybe you work actual banishing spells. The underlying magical act is always the withdrawal of energetic substance from an unwanted pattern. This type of work is actually most powerful when performed on our minds rather than our conditions. And the reason is because the conditions are always reflections of thought forms. So it makes sense to purify our thought forms in order to have what we want in our lives. Think about a pipe that is supposed to carry water. If there's sediment in that pipe, if the pipe is dirty, the water's dirty. And the same thing goes with our minds. When we have an intention or a spell that we're trying to focus our will on, if our mind has a lot of debris and sediment in it, we're not going to get what we want. We're going to get something that's contaminated. Here is something that the Western magical tradition has understood for centuries, and that modern practitioners sometimes overlook, and that is that your mind is not a sealed vessel. You do not think alone. You are part of a vast, interconnected web of human thought. Some people call this the collective unconscious mind. I tend to call it the demiurge. It's the shared thought field of humanity. And this thought field holds everything that humanity thinks, fears, wants, believes. Good, bad, or indifferent, we are constantly swimming in a pool of human thought. And most of us are doing this without realizing it. In this pool, there are habits and grooves of thought that we've picked up since childhood. I often liken it to when a person sprays perfume or cologne on themselves. They can smell it for a few minutes, but after a while, they become used to that fragrance. And everybody else can smell it, but they can't smell it anymore. And the same is true of our mind. Once we become habituated with a thought pattern, we don't even realize we're doing it anymore. And this is wonderful for certain things, like if you want to learn how to play the piano or drive a car or write. Any of those kinds of skills, you have to practice a pattern over and over again until it becomes habituated. And then you don't think about it anymore. But the inverse is true as well. Those habituated thought forms keep creating everything we don't want as well because we have rehearsed them. And humanity has rehearsed them. And so whether it's little habits that we've picked up on our own and developed on our own, or habits that we've picked up and started to practice because we have gone along with the group mind. Either way, we have to purify our minds of these sedimentary habitual thought patterns, and on a regular basis. It's a type of hygiene. Anything can collect sediment. Your body gets dirty, your hair gets dirty, your dogs get dirty, your floors get dirty. Things get dirty. It's not bad. It's just life. We clean them. But most people don't ever know that the same principle holds true in the mind. From a witchcraft perspective, consider what you already know about an egregore. Covens, magical orders, lineages build shared egregores through collective thought and ritual. That egregore can be strengthened, purified, or corrupted, depending on the mental and spiritual hygiene of its participants. The same principle applies at the individual level. Your own energy body is an egregore, shaped by years of thought habits, maybe absorbed by cultural programming or familial traditions. These are inherited belief structures sometimes, and sometimes they are belief structures that you created on your own. Maybe you created these belief structures when you were very young as a way to feel protected and safe. And just like that perfume example, you still kept on with these old patterns and didn't even realize you were doing it. And you still have the mental equivalent of that old blankie or that old pacifier to this day, because you've never known to cleanse. You've never known to purify. So when you engage in sustained mental purification, you are consciously reshaping that egregore. You're choosing with deliberate magical intent what gets to inhabit the field of your mind and what does not. This is not passive work, and it's not always comfortable work, but it is one of the most important and powerful forms of magic that anyone can ever perform. This is the occult art of renunciation, which simply means releasing that which binds your power. Releasing that which doesn't serve you. Releasing that which you don't want. If you didn't want strawberries and there was a strawberry on your plate, you'd either avoid it or toss it. You wouldn't just eat it. If you didn't want to wear a striped shirt and you noticed you had striped shirts in your closet, you don't have to wear them. You don't have to put it on. You can donate that. You can buy another shirt. You can avoid that shirt. Nobody's going to force you to wear your striped shirt. The same thing goes, though, with our thoughts. It's okay to let go of beliefs you don't like. It's okay to let go of tendencies that don't serve you. You're not bound to them. When you hold tightly to a thought, an outcome, an identity, a story, when you pour your energy into keeping any of those realities fixed, you block the flow of power that could otherwise move freely through your work. Attachment in this regard doesn't just limit your life, it limits your magic. This principle is at the heart of things like cord-cutting rituals, fire ceremonies, ritual baths. Each of these kinds of things are physical actions that mirror an internal process of letting go. We allow our inner power to flow freely by letting go of that which we do not want. But here is what tradition teaches us, and what many modern practitioners seem to skip over. Renunciation has to be a mental act first. Before the candle is lit, before the cord is cut, before you burn a petition, you must internally, genuinely, and completely withdraw your focus from what is being released. And this can be a little harder than it sounds. We often perform outer gestures while the inner world remains gripped. So yeah, you may actually cut the cord with the scissor, but the thought form is still there, being fed from within. You can burn the petition, but the resentment it named keeps running quietly under the surface, still being fed by your power. You are not renouncing the thought internally. I've seen this in many banishing group ceremonies. There might be a part of the ritual where we take some sort of object, be it a piece of paper or grain or something, and we imbue it with what we want to let go of, and then we cast it into the cauldron, perhaps. And you can see people getting very intense and building power and building intense energy and thrusting into the cauldron. In reality, what we want in those kinds of rituals is nonchalance, just tossing it out like you toss out a chewing gum wrapper into the trash can or something like that. It's no big deal. It's not part of me anymore. I'm letting go of it. I'm not feeding it more of my energy. So how do you do this? How do you cultivate inner release? First, you bring whatever it is that you're releasing, the thought, the fear, the resentment, the attachment, whatever it is, into your awareness. It has to come up. You have to be aware of what you're doing. You have to observe it. You have to be honest about it. You have to notice it. And I find that it's helpful to notice where in your body you're finding an energetic hold. Like, where are you hanging onto it in your body? And then with deliberate intention, you begin to loosen your identification with it. And you don't do this by fighting it or making it bad or killing it or any of that. You don't suppress it. You don't pretend like it's not there. You simply consciously withdraw your energy from it slowly until it loses any charge. And you'll feel a shift, a quiet sense of something just letting go. It's a release. It's a relaxation. It's a restfulness. And then you perform the cord cutting with your scissors or throwing something into the cauldron or whatever it is that you're doing as a ritual gesture. Because the ritual isn't just a gesture at this point. The ritual is a seal of what you've done internally. It's a declaration in the finite world of what has already happened in the unseen infinite world. And that's how magic holds. As beginners, sometimes we put all of our focus on the ritual gestures as a means to train our minds. But as we advance, we have to reverse that. We have to let the ritual gestures be something that happens as an affirmation of what's already been accomplished internally. Remember that old saying that nature abhors a vacuum. A cleared mind will not stay empty for long. It will always be filled up with something. And the question is whether you fill it intentionally or just let it fill up on its own by going back into those old grooves, those old habits. And that's why it's important that you always follow up mental purification with the cultivation of high-frequency thoughts. Thought forms vary in density and frequency. All of them do. Fear, resentment, scarcity, those are examples of dense, slow-moving patterns. They crystallize, accumulate, and clog the mental field. These are the debris we've been talking about. High-frequency thought, shaped by clarity, genuine conviction, spiritual understanding, elevated emotion, has a dissolving effect on dense mental matter. And don't think of this as a metaphor. It's how the mental field actually works. When a high-frequency thought meets a crystallized thought such as fear or limitation, it begins to break down that structure from within. Think of it like how heat applied to ice will melt the ice, or light entering a sealed room will dissolve the darkness. The same principle is behind every practice that uses raised energy to shift an energetic pattern. Think of all of those kinds of activities you can do to raise energy: chanting, drumming, breath work, deep meditation, ritual dance. There's many. There's many things you can do to raise those vibrations. Raised vibration doesn't symbolize change. It creates change. It's important to understand. You're not symbolizing anything by raising your vibrations. You can feel the difference immediately. And the more you sustain those raised vibrations, the more you are releasing and cleansing the stuck vibrations, those crystallized, dense, sedimentary vibrations. This is why affirmations either work or fall flat. It depends on the energy that is behind them. When you take an affirmation and you repeat it mechanically, there's no elevation, there's no emotional response. They're just words. They don't do anything. You can speak them and repeat them thousands and thousands of times, and they won't program your deep mind, like many people say they will. The deep mind doesn't understand words ultimately. The deep mind understands energy. So when those words are something that call forth or evoke an energy pattern, they work very quickly. When spoken with intent, strong will, and repetition, things shift. They start replacing old thought patterns and gradually reshape the way you think on a deep habitual level. Intent, raised energy, and conviction. They are the working of magic. Intent, raised energy, and conviction. If you use mantras, sacred chants, incantations in your practice, this is why those methods can work, but only if they raise your vibrations, evoke an uplifted emotional state. When they do, repetition will build momentum, and they will gradually raise the vibrational frequency of your entire mental field until whatever old dense pattern you're trying to let go of no longer has any hold. It dissolves. And in its place, you build something new, something of your choosing. Banish, release, and then rebuild. Let's talk for a minute about timing when you're working in this way. Most witchcraft traditions have something genuinely powerful built into their relationship with the lunar cycle. In the tradition I practice, the dark moon, that time when the moon completely disappears from the sky, it's a time for rest. We avoid active magical work. It's not the time to invoke, to charge, to cast. It's a time to withdraw, cleanse, and prepare for the next cycle. But what if you used this dark moon as a period of deliberate fasting? Not fasting from food, mental fasting. Fasting from food has its own tradition and its own uses, but that's not what we're talking about at all here. Mental fasting. Mental fasting is the conscious decision to abstain from a specific thought pattern. So for, let's say, 3 days, the day before, the day of, and the day after, let's take a 3-day fast. For 3 days during the dark moon, you're not going to actively work magic. You are going to instead identify a thought pattern. Maybe it's a fear, a habitual complaint, a loop of scarcity, resentment, whatever is in your world that you're sick of, there's a corresponding thought pattern behind it. So you're going to find the thought pattern and you're going to commit for those 3 days to not feeding it. You're not suppressing it. You're not pretending that it's not there, but you're refusing to give it your energy each time it surfaces. This is sometimes in the occult traditions called witnessing. It's a very ancient spiritual practice, observing a thought without judgment and see it as the pattern it is in the mental field. It's not the truth. It's not who you are. It's not reality. It's a thought pattern. When you witness it and then deliberately withdraw your attention from it, you say, I see you. I give you nothing. I see you. You get nothing. And that's all your interaction with it. Over 3 days, you do this every time a pattern, whatever that pattern is, surfaces. You don't fight it. You starve it. Withdraw the energy that's been keeping it alive. And then the new moon crescent appears. Once this new moon rises, your vessel is clear. Your mental field has been prepared. And the new desire, the new intention, the new work is ready to happen. And remember, you always want to replace whatever you've let go of with something you do want. But this is the difference between casting a spell in a dirty cup and casting a spell in a clean cup. For those of you who have any background with the New Testament, there is some sound magical advice in the line that says, neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst and the wine will run out, and the wineskins are ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved. Isn't that the perfect encapsulation of what we do with magic? You want to give your thought form a pristine container. So that's why we cleanse first. If you practice this dark moon mental fasting, think of it as a period of rest, not work, though. When you do this, you start to shift the baseline texture of your mind over time. Your thought patterns that once felt immovable, they start to lose their grip. The space between a thought arising and identifying with it widens. And in that pause, in that widening, in that space, is a moment of sovereignty. And that's how your magic finds solid ground. Some point of time during the waning moon, between the full moon and the dark moon, you can practice this. Decide on something that you're going to let go of, preferably at the same time every day for at least 3 days, or maybe even a whole week, or you could do it for the entire waning moon phase if you like, but at least 3 days. You're going to, at the same time every day, start off with some sort of grounding and centering that you enjoy, and then bring to mind the thought pattern you've decided that you're going to let go of. Only work on one. It can be anything, as a fear, a recurring storyline, a resentment, whatever. Just one thing. And speak a banishing out loud. If you speak it out loud with intention, the audible vibrations that you're creating along with the emotion make your deep mind take notice. So out loud is a good idea if possible. If not, hear it out loud in your mind. And just say something simple. I banish this fear, this story, this resentment from my mind. It has no root here. It has no home here. By my will, it is dissolved. Don't worry about a specific verbal formula. Make up something that is meaningful to you. And after you speak it, notice any shift, even a very subtle one. The goal isn't, like I said, to recite words. It's to create movement. So do this every day for a few days during that waning moon cycle, or the full waning moon cycle if you choose. But stop once you reach the dark moon. As the dark moon approaches, you can stay with that thought or choose a different thought pattern that you want to release and commit to resting from it for 3 days. Each time the thought arises, if you want to, you could even keep a notebook and write it down. Don't judge it, but remind yourself, I see you. I give you nothing. And then gently redirect your attention somewhere else. With regular practice, this waning moon banishing work and the dark moon fasting become lasting change for you. Like I said, always rebuild after banishing. When the new crescent appears, that's when you set your intentions. Write down what you want to invite into the space that you've created. You can light a candle, you can do affirmations, you can do a full-on spell, ritual, whatever. What do you want? What do you want to take the place? Or what do you want to fill up this pristine cup you've created for yourself? The oldest axiom in the Western magical tradition comes from the Hermetic sciences, and that is, as above, so below, as within, so without. Most of us know this saying, but its full meaning can be very easy to disregard or even miss. Your external magical results are a direct reflection of your inner world. The clarity of your workings, the precision of your manifestations, the power of your craft, none of these things exist separately from the condition of your mind. When you get something that you don't like as a manifestation, it's not a punishment. It's not that the gods are judging you. It's an effect of an internal cause. You're reflecting something. So celebrate that. Say, oh, yay, something more for me to banish. Woohoo! Don't get discouraged. Be empowered by this. It means that the most transformative magical work you can do is inner work. The most powerful spell you can ever cast is the sustained, disciplined purification of your own mind. Remember that the most potent tool in magic that you possess is always with you. You can never lose it. You can never be without it. You always have everything you need to work powerful magic. So take care of it. Purify it. Keep your vessel as clean and pristine as possible. And watch what you allow that vessel to become recontaminated with. The witch's mind is sacred space. It is your true altar. It is your true magic circle. All the rest of the things in our craft are wonderful tools that help us find and work in this inner space. So keep it clear, keep it clean, keep it sovereign. Thank you so much for being here today. I so appreciate you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Until next time, blessed be.